Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prayana Entertainment Channel. I am Vincent Baby, Director of Business Excellence and Culture. We are beginning a very exciting episode of a conversation with an influencer who had positively impacted the world as leaders, mentors, and teachers. Together with the community, we aim to bring meaningful conversations which motivate and impact our lives. For today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Mohammad Ihsan, Honorable Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Education, Republic of Maldives. Minister, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you to the program and thank you so much for being with us today. Also joining us is Mr. Jimmy Verghese, Director of Operations, who will lead us in the conversation. Over to you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Vincent. Mr. Mohammed, can I begin by asking you, how long have you been in the education ministry and also share about your background?
Okay. First of all, let me thank the team at Vincent and Jimmy for inviting me for this wonderful, talk show. And I feel very, very privileged to be part of this. And I have been in the education field as a teacher. By profession, I am a teacher. So I am actually a mathematics teacher. I've been in the field of education for more than 15 years now. But then as an Deputy Minister for Education, it's been like 1.5 years so far. So, and my main focus is right now actually is at the moment, as everybody know, our situation due to COVID-19 is a little bit vulnerable. So we are trying to manage the system, and we are trying to continue the education for our students, for our Malawi students in Maldives. And we are working very hard, and we are giving all our commitments to continue learning and teaching in the Maldives. And as what Jimmy asked me about my background, and my profession, I am a mathematics teacher, as I already have told you. And it's been 15 years in the field of education, and it's been just 1.5 years in as an deputy education minister in the Ministry of Education.
Thank you, Mohammed. My next question is, how do you see the COVID-19 crisis and its impact on education sector?
COVID-19 is actually has brought a lot of challenges, and a lot of it has made our education system and providing education to our students a little bit vulnerable. And according to World Bank, 1.6 billion children and youth are out of school. This is actually belonging to 161 countries, and that this represents more than 80% of the enrolled students. And you can see how much impact that the COVID-19 has on our education system. So we are talking about 80% of the registered or enrolled students in school education are not able to attend the school due to COVID-19 for about months. And actually, this COVID-19 has impacted in schools, schooling, and families. Families are also part of our education system. And assessments, it has impacted on our assessment system. And you can see that lots of assessments have been cancelled and postponed, and many things have happened. And then graduates, with higher education in higher education institutions, the graduation also has been, postponed, or the course duration has been extended. So because of this, there will be a lot of, lack of fresh graduates in our system as teachers and educators. And sports and social activities and entertainment activities. So these are also a very much integral part of our students' development and education. So these also have been, impacted, and our students are not able to engage in their social life. They are not able to engage in their social activities and sports activities, and they are not being able to entertain themselves with their friends outside of the house. So these are actually very important and very crucial part of their socio-economic development and socio-physical development of our students. So this COVID-19 has impacted a lot on our education system as well as the growth of our students as a whole.
Thank you. So my next question would be, what are the biggest opportunities that the COVID-19 has brought in your sector?
The biggest opportunity, what I feel like is our education system has been seeking for an alternative to our face-to-face learning. And we have been seeking and we have been trying to make the public aware and the teachers aware of the importance of uh, providing some digital tools and online and virtual tools for teachers to provide education. And our parents have been seeking and trying to adopt their life into virtual learning modules, because we are living in a communication era. We are living in a technological era. Every parent has a mobile phone. Every parent has a computer or a laptop in their household. But we are trying to, when the students get involved in watching TV, and when the students spend their time in front of the laptop using mobile phones, the parents are worried, and parents have been seeking for an opportunity for them to get our students involved in learning rather than watching movies, rather than playing games. But this COVID-19 has provided us with a lot of tools, and parents have learned a lot about how to make students engaged when they sit in front of the screen. So parents have learned, a lot of parents have learned, and our teachers also have learned new ways of providing the lessons to our students, new ways of making the online lessons, the virtual lessons more engaged. And also this opportunity, I feel like, COVID-19 is a crisis. Also, it is an opportunity by both trades, and we have been gifted with this opportunity. And so, because of the COVID-19, school managements and education ministries have come up with a better solutions for them to, for our students to see for their education purpose. Like, for example, let's take Maldives as an example, or let's take India as an example. So when we take Maldives, when we start trying to teach our students the social aspect of life, the social facilities that are available in islands, and our historical places, and when we try to teach our students our history, each island has its own unique facilities, its own unique historical sites. We were not able to travel to those islands. We were not able to see those islands, those facilities, those historical sites. But this COVID-19, because of this COVID-19, when we started teleclass, we have given opportunity to each and every island teacher to produce their own lessons, and those lessons are telecasted on TV, as well as these lessons are saved in our education portal, which means each of these cultural sites, each of these historical sites are being videoed, and they are being, the lessons are being made on them, and those videos are now available on our education portal. Which means even though those small island students who are unable to travel to a far island can now see the historical sites and how they live, what's the difference between his island, his or her island, and the other island, and those cultural differences and all those social benefits have been provided by this COVID-19. So we have created a reservoir of resources for the future. So now we have a lesson for each and every topic almost. And our students have, our teachers have learned how to deliver those lessons, and our teachers have learned how to create a video report on a particular topic. So you will definitely be amazed by how our Maldivian teachers have created their own lessons. and how they have, traveled through those historical sites, traveled through those islands, trying to explain other students around the country what that particular island has in this particular field. For example, agriculture, fishing, and historical science, and about the traditional work that the people do. So there are many things that has helped. There are many ways that has helped our teachers as well as students as well as the parents because of this COVID-19.
Excellent. My next question is, what is the role of education in nation building?
Oh, now, the education actually, when we see about, when we talk about the country's development, we always think of a concrete structure. When we think of development, we always think of a bridge. When we think of development, we always think of a road. When we think of a development, people always think of an airport or a runway. But the real development is developing people. The real development is when a country's citizen grows up and being able to play his or her role as a role model to the other people. That is the real development. When we think of providing a student an educational opportunity, when a government invests on the person's high education, that is where the real investment happens. That is where the real investment happens. If we build a building, if we construct an airport, if we construct a boat, these are meaningless without people who are being able to manage these properties efficiently. Okay, so when we give a student a book, he may read the book, he may by heart, he may learn many things from the book, but that's not just enough. So the education means not just reading from the book. Education means creating and developing a student for the future. A student for the future. So we are letting the student learn how to learn. We are letting the student to live and learn how to live. So when we create a future generation, that is where the real education happens. So education is the key to development of our country. That is where we need the real investment in. The countries shouldn't be there to spend on education. They should spend more on education than constructing bridges, constructing roads, and they should invest in this education because education is what real development is.
Brilliant. What makes a good teacher great?
All right. So when we talk about the teacher, a parent is also a teacher. When the student moves out of the house and visits the school and start learning, the teacher, the person who gives the instruction, is also a teacher. The principal who provides the good, advice is also a teacher. So when a parent rolls or turns on the student like the fan of a helicopter, when the fan stops, the helicopter falls. So what we have to do is we have to teach, we have to make students to live on their own. That is what a great teacher is. The great teacher trains the student to live on their own. You may have heard about a Chinese proverb. You could feed a student, you could feed a person with a fish. When he eats the fish, that's all. He doesn't know how to get another fish. But if you teach a student how to fish, how to catch a fish properly with good means, with proper materials, with proper equipment, and by going to proper places, if you teach a human being how to catch fish, he will live eating and having fish for his entire life. So that is what a good teacher is. If you try to teach a student how to retrieve an information, if you try to teach a student how to live with the information, if you let the student to explore the world, if you let the student to suffer, if you let the student to fail, that is where the real teaching happens. If you don't fail, if you don't let the student fail, the student doesn't know how to face the struggle. If you don't let the student to explore, you are not letting the student to find the solutions for him or herself. So the real teacher means the real teacher should be happy to provide the students the opportunities to explore and to be him or herself and develop him or herself to be an independent citizen in the future without the help of the parents, without the help of the citizens, without the help of the society. So the society, and he should be able to be part of the society, not just the society, as part of a global society and a citizen, a developmental society, and as a communication and technology of society. So he should be a part of the future. A student, so a great teacher is a teacher who produces a student for the future. That is in short what a great
Excellent. Excellent, Mr. Mohammed. Okay, my final question would be, what advice would you give to the younger generation and to become an influencer?
All right. So first of all, influencing can happen in many ways. When you know how to influence the challenges, how to control the challenges that you may face in your life in the future. So that is how the real success begins. So as a human being, when you grow as a child and a very small, as a newborn child, when you start to grow, when you start learning how to walk, you face a lot of challenges. So we let the student, we let the kid to learn him or herself how to manage when he falls, how to manage when he can't go from for a feet. So he just does everything by him or herself. All right. So for younger generation, I would like to say, if you want to be an influencer, or if you want to be a successful person in future, learn how to live and let yourself fail. Don't be afraid of a failure. Don't be afraid of a failure. Always try not to compete with others. Try to compete with what you had before. Try to be a better person than you are today. That is what the real influencer will be like. So if you doesn't really know how to meet the challenges, if you doesn't really know how to be a better person than you are today, then you cannot influence other people. You cannot be an influencer. Being able to give a talk like, and being able to write a proper essay, being able to answer some few questions, these are secondary things. The first thing is try to be a better person than you are today. So that determination, that motivation only brings a good influencer and a good human being. So what you think of becoming tomorrow, if you want to become an influencer, or if you want to become a businessman, or if you want to become a good father, good parent, good teacher, so what you really need to do is learn to live for yourself, learn to be independent, learn to live as a human being, as a society in a society with beliefs. So that is what the real human being, and that's how you can become a good influencer.
Thank you so much, Minister Mohammed Ihsan. This brings us the end of the conversation with Mr. Mohammed Ihsan, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Ministry of Education, Republic of Maldives. We would like to thank Mr. Mohammed once again for kindly accepting our request and joining us on this program. To conclude, I thought the discussion was positive and meaningful, and this will motivate and impact many lives for sure. We invite you to subscribe our YouTube channel and share with your colleagues and friends. We hope to see you next week with a new episode of Conversation with an Influencer. Until then, this is with Vincent Baby. Goodbye.